to the STLK in the UTA Jazz Podcast. I'm Conjo. This is Paul with news that I don't even know how to give.
If you didn't watch the game last night, don't worry about it. We play tomorrow night against the Clippers.
Like, you know, if your daughter if you were to give bad news to your 1-year-old daughter, like, how would you do it? I feel like this is the same kind of thing.
So I would say, hey, the Jazz didn't play well last night. And she'd say, what's the score? And I would say, that's a great question. What other questions do you have? And she'd say, what was the score? And I'd say, I cannot tell you.
You'll learn when you're older, kind of thing.
So the Jazz actually gave up over 100 points last night again, which is, we've done that every night. Will Hardy's been the coach except for one.
Yes.
They actually gave up 147.
I mean, we lost by 50.
Yeah, the Jazz didn't score 100. So that, it was 147 and 97. I said it. There you go.
Somebody texted me and said, the Jazz are good, you know, obviously being sarcastic. And I said, it was an off night.
They didn't really play well. Did you hear what Will Hardy said?
Oh, yeah.
That'd be sweet.
A nice masterpiece of an explicit word.
Yeah. We're family friendly here. We can't say it. But Will's not after a game like that.
I'll throw it up. Maybe I think there's a bleep. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But honestly, I don't know what to talk about for that game.
Not Colin Sexton, excuse me. Taylor Hendricks.
Yes.
Career high.
It was great to see Hendricks in action.
He looked like he really fit in on the NBA court last night. Really big body. He was like one of the biggest guys on the floor all night, it felt like. It was really interesting to see him share the floor with THT, simply because THT for probably 6 possessions in a row was like, hey, I'm not going to pass it. And Taylor's like, well, I'm wide open. I just hit a couple threes.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting dynamic. I'd like to see him get the ball a little more. But other than Hendricks last night, nothing to write home about.
Something I do have to address is I have a Mavs fan that's in my circle.
Oh,
all
sorry.
right. And he texted me and he goes, Luka's a bad man. And it was a GIF with Luka, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it and I was like, on this pod, we've talked about the West. We've talked about our guards. And I don't think we've mentioned Luka once.
No, we haven't. 30-point triple-double in the first half. Yeah.
We mentioned Shea. We've mentioned Halliburton. We've mentioned Steph. We've mentioned
Fox.
Literally almost everybody.
Except for Luka.
And so I was like, you know what? I'll do an apology to Luka on this pod today.
Deserved.
Luka, I apologize for... it wasn't necessarily slander, but just the lack of awareness that I had by not throwing his name into that conversation.
We talked about the best point guards in the league, and he didn't come up once.
No.
Which was...
here's the thing. We didn't even say his name.
Yeah, you're right. We didn't. And he wore a headband last night, which looked great, by the way. I am hesitant to throw him in the best point guard conversation for no reason, I guess. Like, every time I think of the best, I'm like, oh, Luka's like a second tier down.
A first half triple-double is crazy.
It hasn't happened since they started tracking the stat.
Well, this is actually what's crazy too is he's a new dad.
He's a new dad. It's the new dad powers.
His last 2 games have been under new dad powers, and he's had his 2 best games of the season.
Which is a narrative to follow. I'm not sure if people have seen this in the past that really follow it, but like new dads in the NBA, I remember Fred VanVleet was shooting terrible like 2 years ago. Had a baby and then shot like 50% from 3 for like 2 weeks straight.
I mean, if you have a shooting slump, if any NBA players are watching this, like, have a kid.
Yeah, just be like, hey, babe, like, let's just have a kid.
I have an intramural game tonight at 7:30. Maybe I should just have a kid.
You would play great.
I'd play insane.
I want to correct something I said. I said there hasn't been a first half triple-double since they tracked the stat. A 30-point triple-double in the first half. There hasn't been one of those.
You know what's funny is he had 29.
Yeah.
And it was the first 29 point triple-double.
Whatever the exact
But the thing is the exact stat. The reason why I bring that up is because I'm assuming that 28 would make him out of that conversation.
I love these ESPN
stats will always do that to the point where it's like they've made it so specific where you can't make it under. So I guarantee you there's been a first half 28-point triple-double.
Absolutely.
But they worded it as the first half 29-point triple-double. And we've talked about ESPN stats before. I mean,
love them.
Literally first person to drop this on a full moon where it's a Tuesday and
they're playing on an alternate
Chipotle
court.
ran out of rice.
all in the same day.
Yeah, like it's always something crazy. So
can I touch on the plus minus from our starters last night?
I love that stat. Again, we've said it before. I love resurfacing things because I have always been a fan of the plus minus, and I've been argued against. So I would love to have that conversation down the road too.
And I think these numbers really indicate what happened last night.
Yeah.
John Collins, minus 40. Fontecchio, minus 40. Yurtseven, minus 35. Abaji, minus 47. And the real kicker, Keontae George, minus 48. For those who don't know what that stat means, is that was the team's net points when they were on the floor. Our starters didn't do so hot.
No, hey, but Keontae got to 100 assists.
He did. 11 assists last night, which was cool.
That's actually sweet.
Yeah. 5 turnovers.
I mean, I'll take that. But you know what? You know what's awesome about this pod, Paul, is the way that we still are making this a positive thing.
Yeah.
I saw on some account, and they were complaining about things, and I commented at this guy, and I said, go follow STLKUTA for positive content.
Was he posting some negative stuff?
And he followed it.
Great.
And I was like, you know what? This is where we can really make a name for ourselves.
Just being positive.
I mean, there are negatives. We're not going to discredit that.
No.
Negative 48 plus minus has got to be the worst stat in the history of basketball.
I mean, I can't imagine too many people being worse than that. Like,
no, it's rough. So, honestly, we have Paul's played the game.
Which is positive.
It is positive. We're going to do a quick thing before that, though.
Yeah.
You know, get our blood flowing a little bit. So, I love breakfast food.
Me too.
Like, it's easily the best kind of food.
Yeah.
But the biggest argument now is bacon versus sausage. And the thing is for anyone watching, I love to do hot takes and I love to try and get Paul to argue with me. But basically every topic I bring up, we think the same on. Like, I walk in here and I'm like, hey, well, what do you think's better, bacon or sausage? He goes, sausage. And I'm like, I absolutely agree.
Which is, I feel like in the regular world, it's a hot take.
No, it is. That's
like,
the
most people
thing
don't
is
agree with
we
that.
can't find hot takes that we disagree with. Even if anyone watched the pizza one, it honestly was...
It was fabricated.
It was a little fabricated.
I love pineapple.
Like that's the thing.
Sorry, like I was trying to argue.
It was a little fabricated, and we tried it, and I was just like, "This feels unnatural."
Yeah, well, and then you heard me argue for pineapple for about 6 seconds, and you looked at me funny. I was like, "Oh, my bad."
Like that's the thing is, I wish people could have seen that. I was dying because it was just so funny, and so it's tough to find things, and so I keep looking these hot takes and. I text Paul, or even like the Duke versus Kentucky, the other one. I go Duke versus Kentucky, and he's like,
Kentucky
to Kentucky.
Yeah,
and I was
Kentucky.
like, yeah, same. And then I was like, well, can you argue for Duke? He's like, I was like, I know you can't really argue for something
like,
that you don't believe.
I'm not into it.
This one I'm wording a little bit different. If Bacon were to play sausage in a 7-game series, you know, this is the National Breakfast Association, the NBA.
Yeah.
That was good.
That's
yeah,
great.
that was on the spot too.
Yeah.
Who would win? Obviously, we know who will win in a 7-game series. But
how many games?
How many games? What does that look like?
So here's the thing. I think Bacon has home court advantage. I think they do.
No, they do natural by fan vote. Like they are America's breakfast food.
I had thick cut bacon about 2 nights ago with my dinner. It's fantastic.
It's
like,
great.
It's great. Like I'm not mad about it.
They will win games.
I'll tell you what though, sausage. They're coming in and they're looking for a gentleman's sweep.
Well, are we taking sausage as a whole, or like is this specific to links, to patties?
That's the thing. It's like, well, bacon's taken in as a whole. We're gonna take sausage as a whole as
Because
well.
I mean, bacon's bacon.
Yeah,
but like sausage, you can do anything you want.
You can
with.
put it in egg rolls. You can scramble it up. Put it in your eggs. You can do
patty,
patties,
links. You can do it all.
Sausage, like hot dogs, almost had one of those yesterday. Like, again, I have sausage a lot. It's a really versatile food. I think
Pigs
they win
in a blanket.
Didn't even think about that. I haven't had that in years.
It's so good. You can't do that with bacon.
No, you can't. And I'll tell you what. In a 7-game series, I have sausage winning in 6, and they missed a game winner in game 5. So like it could have been over in 5, and they just handled business at home in game 6.
Wow.
Like I don't think it's as close as people
It
think
should have been 5.
Should have been 5. Think of the
But go
Lakers
6.
The Lakers Heat series in the bubble. Where it's like, okay, this is over. Even though there was a game 6, I don't think anyone watched. And it's like, it's over. Like
it's
the
over.
Lakers won.
But I mean, yeah. So bacon steals a few games, but sausage wins in 6.
Yep.
4-2.
Yeah, and I think it goes. There's different flavors of sausage. I'm not sure if you've ever dabbled in that.
I mean, but there is with bacon. I mean, you get like your I think
You
it's
get like that's the thing. Like you can infuse flavor into sausage.
For
You can only
sure.
sprinkle on bacon if that makes sense.
okay.
Like black pepper bacon, sure. That's
I
on
saw
top.
on TikTok some maple bacon. I mean maple sausage.
Yes,
excuse me,
dude. You put
Jimmy Dean.
Yeah, that's
Looks great.
what I'm talking about. You
Looks
have
great.
spicy sausages. How much longer do you want me to go on this?
I
I
think-
got a lot prepared.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can jump right into play a game, but I
Let's
just
do
had
it.
to throw that in there. I wanted people to see and how fun that is. But I mean, sausage winning in 6. I like
Yeah.
that.
It doesn't go to 7.
I would like to hear what everyone thinks about that.
I feel like we might get torn up.
Honestly, that's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
I think we could actually get some pushback here,
I would love some pushback.
and I would love to push back
if
with
I'm
you,
eating
but for some
bacon
reason
wrong,
it's
let
not
me know.
happening. Yeah,
But it's
Paul's play the game.
let's do it.
Let's roll.
So it's a Taylor Hendricks play.
Yeah, I love rolling it in full and then dissecting
Okay,
it.
let's do it.
I think that's always fun.
This is what we have here.
If you aren't watching and you're listening, this should motivate you a little bit more to watch because you're missing out on a great just visual. Oh, geez.
Yeah, so that was pretty sweet. So Taylor gets his head, I wouldn't say at the rim. You know what? Slowing it down, he doesn't even get close to the rim. But man, he got up for that ball. It was an alley-oop.
If I were to shade who that is, like
Yeah.
make it blank, you'd think it's LeBron.
Absolutely. The way his verticality is
Like
impressive.
if I were to put literally no jersey, just like literally a black figure, shadow person, you would say that's LeBron James.
It would be. Here's the thing. The Kyrie to Luka alley-oop has happened maybe one other time.
Has it happened?
I don't know. Like, that's the thing. So, like, it's a really
They
disrespectful
were really
play.
getting ahead of themselves,
Yeah,
man.
they're only up 27 here.
Like,
Slow it down a little.
like chill.
Although Taylor breaking it up does give me a little happiness, just because I hate that the fact that Luka could have caught an alley oop on us.
Yeah.
Like you gave us a 40-point triple double. You don't need the alley oop, man.
I mean, he started the game with 2 back-to-back threes, and Hendricks, let's just say he was not happy about it.
No, as he shouldn't be. Like,
I mean, that just shows his, versatility. Like, he's athletic, man.
yeah,
He is.
he really is. I think he's going to be the most athletic player by the end of the year, or not that he isn't athletic now, but he's going to learn how to use his athleticism in an NBA setting a lot better. Like I said 10 times, his versatility is outstanding. Like we see it every game that he does play. He can hit a 3. He can play defense. His dribble needs to get a little more tight, but that happens with taller rookies. It's not always perfect.
Yeah.
I love that play though. He got back on defense. He made a play happen. That's
I
cool.
mean, so what do we do?
We need to take a hard look in the mirror. Are you just talking as a team?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. A lot of people are like, okay, I saw this on Twitter. A few people said this. They said, we either need to trade for a star to put by Laurie, which I'm like, sure, maybe,
Okay.
or we need to trade him. And I'm like, well, with all due respect, we're losing just fine with him. So, we don't really need to get rid of him.
That's like, is getting rid the answer?
No, because, okay, look at what Danny Ainge did in, I want to say 2006 and 7, maybe 5 and 6 with Paul Pierce. He was a really good player.
Yeah.
And Danny said, hey, I know you're really good. I need you to buy in. We're not going to be good for a couple of years, but I promise you, once we get a few more assets, I'll go all in. And that's Danny Ainge running that team.
Yep.
Danny Ainge is running this team in Utah. It's very easy for him to look Markkanen in the eye and say, hey, we're not very good right now. You're an all-time player, or the top 25 player, not all-time, but top 25 player right now. I need you to buy in for one more year. I have the assets. I'll go get us people, but please don't try to get out of here.
Yeah.
Be patient with it. And I think that's the same thing we can do right now because, like I said, we're losing just fine with him. There's no reason to get rid of him. And finding another player like him is not easy.
No.
It's not easy.
Just got to hold on.
It can't get much worse than this. I'll tell you that.
No. So,
I can't imagine we lose by 50 again this week. So we play
no.
against the Clippers tomorrow in a nationally televised game.
I love national televised games.
Me too, because it feels like the players actually get up for them.
Yeah.
I'm really curious what that's going to look like. The Clippers ended up beating the Nuggets last night, if I'm remembering right.
See, but we own the Clippers.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's just how it is. Like there's certain guys that we've said before, Jazz killers and will always beat us.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain teams that will always beat, like the Clippers and honestly the Lakers at home.
Yeah.
Like-
we do handle LeBron at home.
I mean,
pretty well.
LeBron hasn't beat us in like 10 years. But speaking of LeBron, I mean, Paul, you gave me credit the other day for the Tyrese Halliburton prediction of him being a star.
Yeah,
And I appreciated that.
of course.
But it's time for me to give respects back to you.
Please.
In-season tournament it's awesome.
It's fun, huh?
No, like it's awesome. Adam Silver is an absolute genius. LeBron said it.
Mm-hmm.
This was seriously like I was still on edge for it for so long, and you know this. You tried so hard to convince me on it.
I tried to.
You were so passionate.
I am still.
Like that's the thing is from the very beginning. Like you were extremely passionate about this in-season tournament. Like extremely passionate. And it wasn't until I was watching that Pacers Celtics game, and Halliburton has a 30-point triple-double.
Yeah.
And he dishes it down to basically, I think it's Neesmith.
It was.
And he yams it, and that was like the staple to win. And I mean, the whole team storms the court. Halliburton is jumping around and walking, skipping around the stadium. I mean, they're smacking each other like it was like crazy.
You would think they just punched their ticket to the Final Four.
No, like legit. Like I was like, that is the sickest thing ever.
Yeah,
like it was so cool. I was texting everybody I knew, and I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever watched. Yeah. I'll throw it up on the screen because I literally was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever watched.
Dude, the energy in those games.
Like, it was insane.
Well, even the Lakers game 2 nights ago.
It was crazy.
Like, absurd energy. Like, these players, like Devin Booker jumps on Instagram and posts this picture right here.
Like, he wouldn't do it.
No, you don't do that to just a regular season game at the beginning of December.
No.
Like, you don't, because you're risking a fine at that point.
Like, passionate about it. And they care. And all it is for like a cup. Like, we talked about like what it could be, but like the whole... What I am worried about is like after, like when it's over.
Yeah, it's like, are we gonna watch basketball? Because it ends this Saturday.
Yeah,
so are we gonna watch any basketball until January?
Well, I mean, like, are they just gonna be like passionate the same way? Like, I don't know. Like everything about it, I think is literally amazing.
Push back on that.
Yes.
Last night in non-in-season tournament games, Paulo Banchero, career high.
Saw that.
Luka, 40-point triple-double. I'm missing one other person that went crazy last night. Do you remember who? Someone had like 50 last night. And it wasn't a no-namer, but it wasn't like a star.
Yeah.
Either way, the players last night, after watching the in-season tournament, came out and they played really hard. And that's the theme I saw across all the games last night, was they played really hard. The Blazers almost beat the Warriors in a non-in-season tournament game. I think it's just raising the level of competition. Like, I don't think it decreases from here.
I mean, attendance shot up.
Yep.
Passion shot up. Literally everything. I seriously thought it was so dope.
Something that's cool was viewership was up over 100% from last year on the same slots of games. But this is the really cool part. The ticket prices didn't go up. So fans were able to go see these games for the same price without having to pay more money.
I like
that. The NBA made way more.
I like that.
By having 100% more viewers watching these in-season tournament games.
They're thinking about winning too. I mean, did you see the reporter asked Ingram and Zion if what they would do with the money?
That was funny.
And Ingram goes, I don't know, but it'll be a good time.
Yeah.
Like,
that got the chuckle.
Yeah, I love that. Like they're like thinking about it, or like Giannis apparently didn't even know.
Giannis, he's a cheap guy.
He's just trying to play his. He's honestly got a persona now.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of trying to play it.
Like, it's like him and Jokic.
Yeah.
Like oh, we don't really you care.
Yeah. Like Giannis is trying to not care, and he obviously does.
He's the type of guy that really cares about this.
Yeah. But he's shown as like a family man now. So he's trying to like be all like, I don't know. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Anyways, I mean, we've got Pelicans versus Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
And then
not a rematch, but like, let's see who really won this trade type thing.
Yeah. And then Pacers and Bucks.
Yep.
Those
are happening today.
Yeah. Oh, those are today?
Yeah. So the Pacers Bucks tip off in what time is it? It's like 7 hours. It's at 3:00.
Stop.
It's at 3 p.m.
That just made my day.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be on
genuinely made my day.
I don't.
Usually I'm not doing anything.
I don't want to sound silly. I booked my flight with the company that I know has satellite TV on their plane.
Is that Delta?
No, it's American Airlines. They have, and United. They both have direct TV actually. So I'm like, yeah, I'll be able to watch the game.
No, that's special.
And then the Lakers Pelicans tonight. Like these games are happening today. Like I'll be honest, I woke up thinking about it.
No,
I'm excited about it.
The 3:00 really
that's fun. That's an NCAA tournament move right there.
That is crazy to me. Like,
did you see the new court?
A new court?
They released it's a red and blue with black, just a non-team associated in-season tournament court, which is really cool. So they made the Lakers. They brought their black jerseys to Vegas, and they said you can't wear the black.
Yeah, I saw that they didn't wear the black.
It was an unreleased court, so they didn't know how to plan it. So now they have to wear their gold, so it doesn't clash with the court that bad.
Wow,
pretty fun.
Dude,
toss it up here.
sick.
I'm gonna send it to you.
I mean, I've got to ride the Pacers.
Do you think the Pacers beat the Bucks tonight?
I just have to ride them. I'm too deep.
Did you see? Yeah, you really are. Did you see the game total?
No.
Over or under 249.5.
See, when they do it that high, I always take the over. Like that Hawks Pacers game a little bit ago. It was the highest ever in like 30 years, and and it still got smashed.
I think it got hit with like 9 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah, like it was crazy. And but anyways, we're watching the in-season tournament. I mean, I can talk about how right you were for 20 minutes. I'm really sold. Like I'm really sold.
Sorry,
even in 2K,
you had fun with it. I came down and you were playing.
Yeah, it incorporated the in-season tournament into my career. I'm like, that is awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
It got me even more excited.
The line for the Pacers Bucks game has moved to 257.
57? Yeah. 257?
257. It's like an all-star game line.
Gosh.
Sorry. Anyway, so the in-season tournament, it was fun. And yes.
And so we're watching LeBron versus KD, right? And this is the second time they've played this season. Well, third.
Second in the in-season tournament.
Yes. But they hadn't played before this since 2018 against each other. So like we went this whole long time without seeing these two greats play against each other. And it's funny because everyone's like saying KD's old, and it's like, dude, LeBron was drafted 4 years before KD. Four.
It's old.
And I was just like, 'cause I was looking at it, they showed like the all-time points, and it was like KD broke into 10, and then it was Carmelo at 9. I was like, what the? I was like, Carmelo's at 9?
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh, well, he's played like 3 more seasons than KD. I was like, that makes sense.
And KD's had a few injuries.
Yeah, I was like, that makes sense. But then I started thinking about like their careers. And people always like to compare teams and stuff like that. So I wanted to have an open conversation here about LeBron's teammates versus KD's teammates.
Who I think is better?
Who's played with better talent?
That's hard because I think KD joined one of the best teams of all time.
100%.
KD joined from my generation, from teams I've watched with my own eyeballs. KD joined the best team.
I will still never believe that. They went 72-9 before KD, and then KD joins them.
Yeah,
literally, they set the record, and then KD joins them. I was watching that Lakers Suns game, and sometimes you can hear fans in the background. KD was shooting free throws, and you could hear a guy right next to the camera yell, "Kevin Durant, what team are you gonna play for next?"
Wow!
And I thought that was hilarious.
That is funny.
But I was just like, dude,
if you just went down the line and went like teammate for teammate.
Well, you also, something I didn't really think about is because Shaq's on LeBron's list.
Right.
But it's a wash Shaq.
I think what you have to
do. You have to incorporate who they were at that time.
Yes, exactly.
So like Shaq wouldn't even be, like I would take Ilgauskas.
I literally was going to say Ilgauskas over
like
Shaq.
I would take Ilgauskas over Shaq in this situation.
Yes.
Just because Shaq was pretty washed.
Yeah, I mean, he's old at this point.
Yeah.
If you just went line for line, like teammate for teammate across the board,
let's do it.
KD, let's do it. Because KD's first pick would be Steph.
Yes.
LeBron's first pick would be...
Are we doing it by like position wise?
No, I'm just saying like best players down the line.
Okay, yeah. So
like Steph and then maybe AD or prime Kyrie. I'm not sure. He had prime Kyrie.
D Wade.
D Wade, yeah.
Honestly, probably D Wade.
2010 D Wade, probably.
D Wade was insane.
Yeah, those first couple years Miami.
No, he was seriously so insane. And people still sleep on kind of what he did.
The cliff he fell off of from 2013 to 2014 is almost like I can't remember him in 2010 because he played the same way. That's the hard part about D Wade. And I think that's why people discount what he did. Is like a lot of people will change their game as they get older. D Wade had the confidence to like not change his game and almost like hurt him in a way because his knees started to give out quick. So it like didn't look nearly as good.
D Wade, I'll just do a quick shout out. He's awesome.
He's incredible.
I met D Wade once, and quick story. I saw him shooting around pre-Jazz game. I'm with my buddies. And I was like, I have to get a picture with D Wade. I have to. Like, he's been one of my favorite players growing up.
Yeah.
And so I go, I'm like, hey, D Wade, can I get a picture? And he's doing something else at the time. He's like talking to kids and signing stuff.
Yeah.
And he doesn't say anything. He doesn't say like, yeah. He just kind of like gives a little nod and he still starts signing. And I just kind of stood there and I was like, oh, he's probably not going to come around.
Yeah.
He signed everybody's things, and then without me saying another word, still came over to me. He's like, "Do you still want that picture?"
Really?
And I was like, "Yeah, of course."
Yeah, you're
Like,
Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, I'll throw that picture up. But like, that's the backstory with that picture is he literally like finished what he was doing and still remembered me asking for a picture.
Yeah.
And then came over after.
Yeah.
So I was like, and especially after those, you're like, I love you, D Wade. Like
That's special.
Like, and then he came and spoke at one of my classes at BYU, and I had you come, and
that was fun.
That was fun. So like, D Wade is, I would say, is probably his best teammate.
Probably. So Steph,
honestly, Steph probably wins. Then honestly, I'd throw Kyrie in KD's and LeBron. So maybe like I would cancel out.
I think Russell Westbrook was better with KD than Kyrie was with KD.
Oh, 100%.
So I would take
100%.
Westbrook and Kyrie, and those would cancel. But then Kyrie and who's LeBron's third best teammate?
Probably AD.
AD. And then I think Kevin Love's up there. When Kevin Love was in Cleveland in 2015, 2016, he was a baller, dude. Like, people forget that. Like,
no, for sure.
He was great.
See, but like that's the thing is like, honestly, like we're scrapping for Kevin Love. We're like with KD,
Chris Bosh,
KD. We literally can just go
Klay Thompson,
Steph, Kyrie, Klay Thompson, Harden, Westbrook.
Wow, he has a lot.
Like he kind of has a
Kevon Looney, who's just a playoff mastermind.
Like even like Draymond. Like
Draymond's a Hall of Fame player.
That's what I'm saying. So like I think at the end of the day, like KD's definitely played. I mean, now even with Booker, Beal,
Chris Paul. No, they never shared, huh?
Like,
did they? They did at the end of last year.
Did they?
Chris Paul was on the Suns last year.
They did. That counts.
That definitely counts.
I mean, it's a washed CP3.
Not even washed. She was good.
Yeah, but like that's kind of crazy. Serge Ibaka, who was at that time was
really good.
Like really good.
I mean, LeBron's the fact that Chris Bosh is probably on LeBron's top 5. It's not that Chris Bosh
that should say
good.
enough though. That should be like
it's like KD's 5 is Harden.
That should open up a different conversation for the MJ teammates.
Yeah,
it's a little bit different. Like LeBron's teammates have. I mean, we're talking 2010 because anything from 2003 to 2010. I mean, he literally he went to the finals with Daniel Gibson and Eric Snow and Larry Hughes.
Larry Hughes was slapped on in 2K though.
Like,
I'll tell you that.
Like that was his like starting lineup. And then even in some of those Cavs years, like Dellavedova and
Tristan
Thompson, like you're like, ooh.
I wonder if you could throw up that graphic of
the starting. I know exactly.
What
I literally know exactly what
just
picture
toss that
you're
up and let
of.
people just start the discourse there.
Like I know exactly what picture you're talking about.
It's like why was that even made?
It is insane that's even a thing.
Did you see the Thursday night football graphic for tonight?
I don't even know who's playing tonight, honestly.
So it's the Patriots and the Steelers.
Yeah.
And the graphic was J.J. Watt. And on the Patriots side, it was Bill Belichick. They didn't even toss a player up there.
T.J. Watt.
It has the same
You mean T.J. Watt?
TJ, excuse me.
I was going to say, I was like, JJ. I was like, I don't even, he's not even playing. Like, they're really going in their bag here.
TJ and Bill Belichick were the graphic. I'm like, why even make the graphic? Like same thing with the LeBron one. Why make it? Like
it's like the BYU, the whole Cougar Tail one.
What one?
Did you not see that?
No.
When they played on ESPN for the little like Vegas showdown, they compared Spencer Johnson and Jason Tatum.
That was rude.
Well, it's like, okay, like
it's like finals appearances.
Well, because they graduated the same year.
Yeah.
And Spencer Johnson is still at BYU and Jason Tatum
on his second contract in the NBA.
And it showed how much money they've made. And it went Spencer Johnson 0, Jason Tatum like 70 million.
I like to think Spencer's getting taken care of.
But they literally went like deep into like Tatum stats, and then it went Cougar Tails Eaton 30 Spencer Johnson, 0 Jason Tatum. I was like,
okay.
It's like that is the strangest thing ever.
I think the strangest thing is the actual graphic being made.
Again. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I said that, because I'm like, I don't really know what the point of that is.
I mean, there's no significance. It's not like they were playing Duke, where it's like, yeah, Jason Tatum. They're just like, let's just compare someone. Like,
yeah, like I'm like, okay, sure. Like,
anyway, it's like comparing a 38-year-old like in your neighborhood to LeBron. It's like, what have you done? It's like nothing.
Nothing. Like, I'm not even in the same conversation.
Yeah, like, why am I getting brought
nor
up here?
Nor have I compared myself.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I'm trying to put myself in that conversation. It's like I'm unwillingly being put in a conversation to look bad.
It's the same thing when people text us and like, because I like critique a player Like I remember on the BYU pod, I got pushed back on the Trey Stewart thing. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. I was just saying that like he needs to work on a shot. They're like, well, you're not a good shooter. I'm like, I'm not playing
I'm not saying that I am.
I don't.
You're
yeah,
like, you
anyway.
tried playing D1. And I'm like,
Like I can't. Clearly, that's why I'm sitting here.
I am not playing D1. Obviously, I am
on purpose.
I am doing a podcast.
It's not like I got slipped by. Like they saw me. They said you are not D1.
They took him obviously over me. Like I'm not crediting anybody.
Yeah.
Anyways,
it's a silly conversation.
No, that's fun, man, dude. I've had a fun time this episode.
This is a good episode.
Like, you go into this and you're like, okay, well, the Jazz haven't really given us a lot. But that's what's fun. I love making something out of nothing. And, we had some good laughs. And I think this was an engaging one. Announcements next Wednesday, 6 days. We have a Hive podcast with our buddy Albie Ballstrom, at Thrift Hood. He is the founder, the owner. He goes into his story. We filmed it yesterday. It was a fun one. Like it was cool. We talk about his relationship with Jordan Clarkson. Delivering clothes to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, away players coming into town when they play, and I think it's a really really fun episode. His knit and grit of he literally went from his basement just posting things on his story to 9 months later in the shop he is today.
That's crazy.
It's a cool story, so I'm excited for that to come out next week. Honestly, next week there'll be some good fun content, some Conjo's cars for hats and stuff like that, but won't be any pods, just be the Hive podcast, and then we'll be back at it the next week. But it's been a fun one.
Good stuff.
I liked it. So this has been the STLK in the UTA Jazz podcast. As y'all know, I'm Conjo. This is Paul, and we'll catch you as soon as we can.